Hi everybody. This tutorial is for block 1 of the Topsy-Turvy Tri-Stitch Along. And for this tutorial you are going to need your Tunisian hook, your crochet hook, and your knitting needles. Mine are all 6mm. Little angle out here so you can see. So this is what you'll need, and your yarn. This is the block we're going to be doing. Okay, and the block we're going to be doing your Tunisian simple stitch, your knitting seed stitch, and your crochet woven stitch. So the first thing we're going to do is our Tunisian, so we'll move these aside. Now we're going to do the block the whole tutorial on, but I will be, when I upload this, will be fast forwarding through each section as I get some of it done. So what I want you to do is I want you to chain 28 stitches for the Tunisian part. So go ahead and chain your 28 stitches and I will meet you back here. Okay, I have chained my 28, as you can see here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So let me go to work the back stitches. Just make sure you count and have your 28. And what we're going to do is you're going to skip this first chain from the hook, because this loop here counts as your first stitch, and you're going to turn it over and look for your bumps on the back. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through, as I did in the tutorial, you're going to go through each loop and pull up a loop. And you're going to do this all the way down, and when you get to the end, you should have 28 loops on your hook. Just like that. So go ahead and continue down your chain, picking up your loops until you have all the way at the end, and I will meet you back here for the return pass. Okay, you should have 28 stitches, so make sure you count your stitches. There's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 28. And I'm just going to tighten up my slip stitch there. And now we'll do our return pass. Now, your return pass is always the same, okay? And your first stitch is always just the first, because it's always a chain, just one loop, okay? Except, let me pull that out, because I forgot my yarn over. So it's yarn over, pull through one loop, then it's yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and you do that all the way back to the beginning. And that will complete our first row. And then we will begin to work our pattern for simple stitch. And I showed you how to do this in the cast on video. And this is your setup row for the Tunisian part of the block. Almost to the end. Now you will always have the same amount of stitches, loops, on your hook for your Tunisian. It will always be 28. So if you don't have 28, then you missed one of your stitches. And then we're back to one loop. Now I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see how we're going to do our Tunisian simple stitch. Okay. Alright, camera, focus. Focus. There we go. Okay, you're going to skip this first one. That's your first stitch. You're going to go to the front bar of your stitch. See here? It's front bar. And you're going to put your hook through there. You're going to yarn over, and pull up a loop. You're going to go to the next one, the front bar, pull over, you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. And you're going to do that all the way down until you have 28 loops back on your hook. It's your horizontal, vertical bar on your stitch. You can see them right here. Put your hook through, yarn over, pull up a loop. Hook through, yarn over, pull up a loop. Get some more yarn here. Pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull up a loop. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. Pull up a loop. You do this all the way to the end. And you should have 28 loops on your hook when you're done. When you come to this last stitch, zoom in so you can see it. Okay, come on, focus, focus, focus. Okay, I'm going to pull this yarn behind to the side here. If you turn your yarn to the side, you'll see your V. You want to go under both legs of your V to do your yarn over and pull up your stitch. So let's see if we have 28 stitches. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. So we missed a stitch somewhere. So let's look and see where we missed a stitch. What you can do is you can look, just look on your, right here where you're looking, and it's right there. That's where I missed a stitch. So I pull this out. Okay, so now let's count it. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 28. So we continued our stitch count. Like I said, you have to go back and check. If you miss a stitch, then you might have missed one of your front horizontal bars going across here. And if you do, it's not a problem. Just pull your hook through, pull, frog it out, and just go back and pick that stitch up. And your return pass is always the same. Yarn over, pull through 1, and then the rest are always yarn over, pull through 2, 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 over, pull through 2, yarn 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 over, pull through 2, 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 one more, through 2, and you're back to 1, your original 1 loop on the hook. And again, we're going to go back. You skip this first bar right here because that's your first stitch. It's already on there. And you go to this next bar. And you go under the bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. Go under the bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. Under the bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. And you continue that all the way to the end. And then you do your return pass. Same thing. Your first stitch is always yarn over through 1 loop, and the rest is yarn over through 2 loops. You will continue this pattern for your simple stitch for 2.5 inches. And that is going to be the first section of your block. And it will look like that. So you go ahead and continue that, and I will meet you back here when I have 2.5 inches to show you what is called the cast off. But we're not going to cut our yarn. We are going to pick up the stitches to go into the seed stitch knit part of it. So go ahead and do your 2.5 inches of Tunisian simple stitch, and I'll meet you back here for the last part of the section of Tunisian, which is your cast off. Okay, you will notice that excuse me, I redid my block. For time's sake, I redid my block in half the size. I'm going to have a stitch count and everything in the description box below. I had told you, you chain 28, you'll have 28 stitches. Mine's 14. But my size, and this is just for time's sake. So you will go until you have, right here, you go up 2.5 inches. Once you get to 2.5 inches, you are going to cast off. And in Tunisian, a cast off is like this. It's just like you were going to go in to do your simple stitch, but instead of picking up the loop, you're going to yarn over, you're going to pull through there, and then you're going to pull through there. It's just like a slip stitch. Go to your next one, yarn over, pull through there, and pull through there. And what this is doing is this is closing up your stitch there. Pull through, pull through, go under your bar, yarn over, pull through the stitch, go under your bar, yarn over, pull through, under your bar, yarn over, pull through. Sorry, I had to stop and kill the bug. And you continue that all the way down until you get to the end. And I'll show you what it looks like, because this is setting you up to pick up your stitches for knitting. And you get down here, yarn over, pull through. You get down here, and then you're going to have one more stitch, and that's right here. And if you look here, you're going to turn it over. You see that B? You go under both legs of the V, yarn over, pull through, okay, and just pull your stitch up and put your Tunisian. You're done with it for this block. And that is the first part of your Tunisian. Next, you're going to pick up your knitting needle. Okay, you're going to just put your knitting needle through there, and you're going to turn your work over. Okay, just put your yarn behind. You're going to hold your yarn out like this, and we're going to pick up stitches. So I need you to turn your work so you can see your V stitches. Okay, you're going to hold your yarn over here in your left hand, and you're going to take your needle. You only need one needle for this. You're going to skip this first stitch because here is your first stitch, and you're going to go under. Actually, my apologies. You're going to come under here. Okay. Wrap the yarn around. Hold it. Hold your yarn with your right hand. Like this. Okay. This is the easiest way I found to do it. And just pull your yarn up through the hole like that. You're going to hold your swatch, your material in your left hand. You're going to hold your yarn in your right hand and your needle in your right hand. Go to your next V. Put your needle under both legs of the V. Wrap your yarn around, and then just pull your yarn through the loop, your V there. I just kind of pull the project over it, pull your V stitch over. Okay, pick up your stitch, and you're going to do that all the way down. Wrap your yarn, slide your stitch over, and that's how you pick up. Don't make it too tight. You don't want to tick, because you're going to have to go in and do knit stitch after that. Yarn around, slide the stitch off the needle. So you pull your needle through, your stitch through. Go to your next two legs of the V. You can see your V stitches right there. Yarn over the needle. Slide the stitch off, and there's your picked up stitch. Go to your next one. Your needle from front to back. Yarn over. Slide, and you keep doing that till you get all the way to the end. Now, the one thing that you can do with these blocks, you can always fudge your stitches. These blocks, when they were done, worked out to about 6.5 to 7 inches. And like I said, you can always fudge your stitches. And blocking, you know, acrylic is very forgiving when it comes to blocking. You can aggressively block them and pin them. And don't forget, my block is half the size of the project. To the V, slide your stitch over. That's why I said, don't make your stitches too tight when you cast off. Okay? Again, put your needle underneath both legs of your V, yarn over, and then just slide the stitch off. And you'll have your stitch under both legs of the V, yarn over, slide the stitch off. This is the easiest way I figured I could show you to do this. And then you're going to have this V, and then the last one is kind of tricky. So you have it there. Okay. If you look on the side here, so you keep your edges straight. If you look to the side, you have this V here. So all you do is just kind of turn it to the side, put your under both V's, yarn over, and that way you'll keep your edges straight. So I have 3, 6, 9, 12, I've got 15 stitches. And that's just to keep my edges straight. I started with 14, I have 15 out only because I want to keep my edges straight. And then turn your work around. So as you can see, you have this nice demarcation. It's going to separate your Tunisian from your knit. And then we're going to knit one row. Now to do the knit stitch, okay, you're going to take your needle and you're going to go from front to back, and you're going to go just like that. You're going to take your yarn, you're going to wrap it around your needle like that, and you're going to, and then slide your stitch off, front to back, wrap your yarn around your needle, and then slide your stitch off. Go front to back, wrap your yarn around your needle, slide your stitch off, front to back, yarn around your needle, and then you're just going to slide the stitch off, front to back. This is what your stitch looks like. Oops. Wrap your yarn around the needle, and then just slide it off the needle. And you do that all the way down to the end. Now, if you're not doing the knit part of this, you can continue this section in Tunisian, or you can wait for the crochet part. It's up to you, or you can do the whole block in Tunisian. So that's the nice thing about this stitch alone. You can do whatever you want. Okay, so there is our first row of the knit section. And when I'm doing these blocks, I always, when we're changing stitches, I always try to make it so there's a demarcation line that separates the two techniques. So now we're going to turn our work over. Now we're going to do what's called the seed stitch. And the pattern for that is very simple. You're going to knit one, then purl one. So we're going to show the knit stitch and then the purl stitch. Okay, the knit stitch we did. So the knit stitch is we're going to front to back, your yarns to the back, you're going to wrap it and slide your stitch off. Don't make your stitches too tight. Okay, now to purl, you're going to take your yarn and you're going to bring it to the front. Okay, now you take your needle and you're going to go underneath and make like an X, but you're going to be in the front of the left hand needle. You're going to take your yarn and you're going to go around the needle just like that. Then you're going to slide that off. Then you take your yarn and bring it back to the back, and you go front to back, make your X, wrap your yarn around the needle, and take the stitch off the needle. You bring your yarn back to the front. We're going to purl stitch again, and you bring your yarn make your X. See how it comes? Just like that. Wrap your yarn around the needle and slide your stitch off. Back and knit. Stitch, go back, yarn to the back, front to back, wrap your yarn around the needle, slide your stitch off, purl, yarn to the front. If you see, it goes between the needles. Yarn to the front, make your X. Your right needle goes into the front of the left needle, yarn around your needle, slide that stitch off, yarn to the back of the needle. So that is the whole seed stitch pattern. Knit, purl, knit, purl for your first row. So continue that to the end and I'll meet you back here. Okay, you've reached the end of this row. Come on, focus camera, focus, focus. Okay, we're going to turn our work. This is a 2-row repeat. When you turn your work over, you're going to see that this here is a purl stitch. And how you can tell a purl stitch is it's got a bump. A knit stitch is a V. Purl stitch, knit stitch. So basically what you do is you knit the purls, purl the knits. So basically what we're going to do here, this is a purl, so we're going to knit it. So you come front to back, yarn around, slide your stitch off, yarn to front, because this is a knit stitch, make your X, you're in the front, yarn around the needle, slide your stitch off, remember yarn to the back, that's a purl, we're going to knit it, front to back, make your X, yarn around your needle, slide your needle off, your stitch off, and your yarn back to the front. It's a knit stitch, so we're purling it. You're going to make your needle, slide in front of your left needle, yarn around, your needle off, yarn to the back, yarn around, slide, stitch off, yarn to the front, the purl stitch is in the front, make your X, wrap your yarn, slide your stitch off, yarn to the back. So basically the seed stitch, it's knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1 for your first row. When you turn your work, you're going to see you ended with a purl. Knit 1, purl 1. You're knitting your purls and purling your knits. So you're just doing the opposite of the stitch. And you do that for 2.5 inches. When we get to the 2.5 inches, I'll show you how to cast off. Okay, you should be coming down to almost 2.5 inches. So I thought I'd work the last couple rows with you. Now, a little hint here. Since this is not being worked in the round and this is just being worked flat, you'll be starting every row with a knit and then a purl. But just remember, when you're purling, you got to remember to bring your yarn to the front, and after you finish your stitch, put your yarn back to the back to do your knit. There's my purl, yarn to the back, there's my knit, yarn to the front, there's my purl, yarn to the back, there's my knit, yarn to the front. There's my knit. Finish doing this seed stitch, believe me, you will have your knit and purl down. And I will put in my description box some other channels that have tutorials that are a whole lot better than mine on these stitches here that will probably give you some more help. I'm trying to do my best to help you here. So we'll finish this one here and we will measure. Okay? So you take your tape measure and you put it up here. I usually put mine right here, top of my needle, right at the bottom of my stitch, and I have 2.5 inches, as you can see. Now we're going to do the cast off. Okay. Now to cast off, I'm hoping I have enough time left to my camera here that I don't have to empty out the card and then come back. Cast off, you're going to knit 1 stitch, then you're going to knit 2 stitches. You're going to take this stitch here and you're going to slide it over that stitch and drop it. And you're going to go to the next stitch, you're going to knit another one, and go to the first stitch and pass it over that stitch. And you continue to do that all the way down until you have just 1 stitch remaining. Knit a stitch. So you don't do it too tight that you can't get under there. And then just pass it over top of that stitch there. And this is called cast off. It's just a normal cast off, traditional cast off. Yarn over, knit your stitch, take your stitch, pass it over, knit your stitch, I have to look around the camera, pass it over. I'm going to stop it here, continue doing that, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I just pulled the loop out because you're not going to cut off, because we're going to continue onto the crochet section of this block. And it's 2.5 inches of Tunisian. I'm just going to flip it over to the right side. There's your simple stitch. There's your seed stitch. And now I'm going to stop it here, and I'm going to upload these 2 sections onto the computer, clear out the card so I can do the next section. So the next section will be the crochet section. So put away your knitting needles, get your crochet hook out, and we will continue. Okay, we are on the last section of the first block, which is the crochet. So let's get our crochet hook, and this is the stitch we're going to do. It's called the woven stitch. But first, we are going to chain 1, and we are going to single crochet in each stitch across. Now, I found it easier, if you look here, you have these V's. I found it easier to crochet right into the V. Just single crochet into the V. That's how I did mine. I found it much easier than trying to, if you see right here, let me see if I can zoom in and show you. Alright, come on. Focus, focus. Okay, if you kind of spread it a little bit, you'll see there's the V from your knit stitch right there. So I'm just going into there to do my single crochet instead of trying to get in to the V. And all this is here is your separation on your techniques. This is why I keep telling you, don't make your stitches too tight. You might have to pull it apart to see your V. I'm going to put mine out, pull it out a little bit. There's my V. What that is the V part of your knit stitch. And sometimes, well, I'll explain it when we get to the end here, because we're going to go back and count our stitches. And this is where you may have to fudge a little to get your stitch count. And again, it happens. When I was choosing the stitches, I was trying to put together stitches that had similar stitch multiples, but sometimes it was, you know, I was trying to plan the best I could. Alright, almost to the end here. This is where it gets a little tricky. Okay, there's one there. There's one there. This one here I did a little too tight. And then here you have to just kind of fudge a little bit on your end here to keep your edges straight. So I kind of go in the edge here to make my stitch. Now, I don't like that how it looks. So make sure I go under both legs. Keep my edge straight. There. So I'm going to go on top. I'm going to turn. And I'm going to count how many stitches I have. So I have, here's my first one, it's kind of hiding. So I've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 stitches going across. And the stitch that we're doing is called the woven stitch, but a lot of people call it the moss stitch. And really all you need is an even number of stitches. So how many stitches did I say we had? We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 stitches. So we have an even number of stitches. So we're going to turn our work. Row 2 is we're going to single crochet in the second stitch. So chain 1, nope, sorry about that. We single crochet in the second stitch. There is no chain 1. Single crochet in the second stitch. So there's 1 stitch, 2 stitch. Single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, 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 single crochet, chain 1, and then you single crochet in the last stitch. In row 3, we turn, You chain 1, you skip the first single crochet, and you chain 1, you single crochet in the first chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet, skip single crochet, single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, oops, skip single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the single crochet, chain 1, and turn. Skip the single crochet in that chain 1 space, chain 1, skip that single crochet, then you single crochet in that chain 1 space, and this is your pattern. After your first row, you're chaining 1, skipping the single crochet, and chaining and single crocheting in the chain 1 space. Then you chain 1, skip the single crochet, and then you single crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip the single crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip the single crochet in the chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip the single crochet, single crochet in your turning chain. You turn, chain 1, you skip that single crochet, single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1, you skip your single crochet, you chain 1, single crochet in the chain 1 space, and you do this for 2.5 inches, and then you just fasten off and you're done. So I'll meet you back here at the 2.5 inch mark. Okay, so this is, pretend my 2 inches, 2.5 inches, but that is your Tunisian simple stitch, your knit seed stitch, and your crochet woven stitch or moss stitch. In the description box there will be the written instructions for these, and also some links to tutorials for these stitches, if I can find one for the specific stitches. I know I could find one for the Tunisian and also the seed stitch. I will look for one for the crochet. But I hope that this helps everybody, and I will be working on the second block tutorial this upcoming weekend. Thank you, and any questions, as always, please put them in the comments below, or email me or messenger me. Be looking for more videos. This is going to be an ongoing tutorial series for the topsy-turvy tri-stitch along. Have yourself a great day. Hugs, smiles, and happiness. Pass it on. Make the world a better place. Thanks for watching, and we will be seeing you next video. Bye for now from Deer Island.